In recent conversation with the Prime Minister's Office Press Secretariat, the State Minister of Finance Eyob Tekalign has said the formation of Prosperity Party, the country's ruling party, has brought about a vital role in the country's all-round move. Discussing the exact reasons behind the reform in Ethiopia, he said the diversities among various ethnicities augmented by the then EPRDF party for political calculations, which eventually weakened the national unity, resulted in hues and cries in various areas of the country, causing the reform to happen in Ethiopia back in 2018. A country with 120 million population with the potential of making power balance in East Africa, Ethiopia has therefore taken a huge step toward its prosperity after the reform, according to the State Minister.
The PRF regime focused on that diversity too much, which weakened the national unity, the sense of collective Ethiopian identity. Accentuating our differences. That difference is important. You should celebrate that diversity. But the whole political program should not be based on highlighting our differences, focusing on that, creating serious unrest and disagreement among the Ethiopian public. So as this grievance intensified, expression of grievance, a call for a change from all walks of life, Ethiopians from south, north, center said enough is enough. And then came 2018. That's it.
As the first independent nation to sign the Charter of the United Nations and the one which gave moral and material support for the decolonization of Africa and to the growth of Pan-African cooperation, Ethiopia is a country of long history and potentially symbol of African independence. To balance the country's long-lasting reputation and role, therefore, Eyob says the 2018 national reform puts light on the country's future. He says the establishment of the Prosperity Party is quite magnanimous, as it is renovating the political narratives, bringing together competing parties for a common national goal.
And now if you look at the political reform, for instance, the political reform is so deep. It's a new political culture is in the making. Maybe I could mention a couple of points here on the political reform, but one profound one for me is the establishment of the Prosperity Party. It's a watershed plan. It's so consequential. Prosperity Party is changing the political narrative, the political culture in Ethiopia by, for the first time, introducing an inclusive political agenda. They say Prosperity Party is inclusive, but I think it's an understatement. The party boasts membership across all ethnic, political, and cultural groups. The fate of this country was decided by only limited group of Ethiopians. If you look at how PRDF was structured, for instance, there is a first class, TPLF or the dominant force, and then there are three other parties that form the coalition.
The State Minister, moreover, says the country's systematic response to challenges from global COVID-19 outbreak to the recent chaos in northern part of the country has chased away the abrupt allegations that the country has been weakened by internal pressures. The country's government readiness for peace talks with militants in the country and incorporation of competing parties to the government positions are worth mentioning. Eyob says the country has succeeded in firmly aggrandizing its potential through a resilient economic reform.
We've seen challenge after challenge, right? They came in twos, in threes, in fours, in five the last 5-6 years. Whether it's a 25-year worst drought, COVID-19 pandemic, locust invasion, domestic instability, and then the global slowdown because of Russia-Ukraine war, and you gave a very good context about the global challenge. But how did we overcome these challenges is the question. I think one important thing is we've managed to build a resilient economy through the economic reform that we implemented. First, second iteration of economic reform. Ethiopia would be the top 20 biggest economy globally in the next few decades. That's what we aspire, right? We say it's going to be an African beacon of prosperity. The big aspiration.
Putting a strong cornerstone now through not leaving any stone unturned to create a united, stable and peaceful country attempts to target Ethiopia's potential to be a beacon of African prosperity, according to the State Minister of Finance.